All right. What is up, fellas and ladies? Whoever's watching, I appreciate you. If this camera angle is a little weird, guys, I'm still working with my new webcam, so just cut me some slack here as I try to increase the production value. Got some people in the chat. What is up, guys? So we're going to go through USS Nationals warm-up guide. All right. Very cool. So I have a document, guys. If you're in clubstrongman.com, you can get this, y'all. Clubstrongman.com. Okay, put it in the chat. But just want to get right in, guys. This is for USS Nationals 2026. Okay, so does not matter how good your training is. It does not matter, how strong you are if you show up and have a bad warm-up and bad strategy for the competition. So that's what all of this is about. And I just kind of want to go through it with you guys. Okay, so when we're talking about warm-ups, this is just like all game day stuff, right? Like you should already by now have a bit of an idea what you want to do going into this. But let's just start right out the gate, y'all. And if you have questions, feel free to plop in, okay? So kind of the first thing is arriving at the venue. Now, if we have the same venue for weigh-ins and check-ins, almost guarantee that we do. Try your best to walk around, see what's going on, know where your warm-up area is, get a grip on, like, how much warm-up equipment is there. Maybe a lot of this isn't loaded yet, but it might be there. I don't really know for sure. So whatever. So just try and scout the area. You want to know, like, where the actual competition floor is, where you're going to be hanging out, scout a position for you to set your stuff down. See if there are chairs and stuff there, right? Like, I had Nationals in 2024. I just went and bought a camping chair from Walmart. What a great decision that was. It was like $8, I think, and I just gave it to one of my friends in Colorado when I left. So just throw it away. If not, throw it in a dumpster somewhere. I mean, shit. Like, you'll want somewhere to sit. So you need to understand what's available. There might be a bunch of, like, chairs and tables, but maybe not. You don't know that. So when you arrive at the venue on Friday for your check-in, weigh-in, all of that fun stuff, like, just start scouting this out. This might be a good time to also get hands-on with some of the implements, right? Like, if you don't know what sandstones feel like, if you don't really know for sure what the farmers are like this is a good time to scout them out. Now, please be very careful if you have been doing a water cut and you're, like, really depleted in a weakened state. You don't really want to do something heavy. You don't want to do, like, a heavy yoke pick. You don't want to do, anything, like, really nonsensical, like working up to a max deadlift or something. But, you can still see what the axle looks like. Like, is there knurling or not on it? Is there any center lines? Is there any marks at all whatsoever? Just try to look at all of that stuff immediately, like, as soon as you can. And if it's not there on Friday, then get there early Saturday to check that all out. So just scout that out. Get organized. When you're getting to the spot actually on game day, I really recommend getting there early, guys. It's just better. Just get your wits about you, get settled. There's no points for showing up late or anything, or, like, being the last person there. You also don't want to be stuck with, like, a really shitty location, right? Like, especially, let's say we've got a really, really big warm-up hall, and for some reason it's like a big hallway, and you end up on the very far end, as far as possible from the competition floor. Like, that really sucks if you have to walk or run really, really far every time to, like, get to the one route of how you get to the competition floor. So just get there early as you can, scout it out. If you got a bunch of friends with you, you can hold some spaces down, make it cool, right? Have a good time. And then just kind of get rolling, okay? Like, really important that you get moving, or at least just get there and set up the way you want, okay? Also, big vibe. I mean, just think about this. You want to make sure that you're setting up with and around people that are good energy. Like, I'm not going to name names. 1 year at OSG, I just happened to, like, get put next to a bunch of people that were complaining about everything. and were griping and hurting, talking about their injuries, how this event went, how that event went, and like I couldn't freaking stand it. So you want to make sure that you want to be around the opposite of that. You want to be around good people, and you can control that by being there early. Okay. All right. Axle clean and press is our first one. So when we're warming up and thinking this out, know your opener before you even walk into the venue, right? Like, so you should know what your target is to open up with this. Now, make sure we find out what the equipment weights are, right? Is it a 25-pound axle? Is it a 45, 65? I don't know. Probably not. But, most axles are 20 to 25. Let's make sure we know what's going on there before we just kind of start errantly loading up weights and we have no idea. Now, when you're warming up, guys, warm-up rooms are crazy. There's over 500 people signed up for nationals. Let's put it this way. Worst case scenario, if 20% of people drop, you have 400 people at nationals. So you're going to need to be vocal and assertive in the warm-up room, right? Like, if you're with me and I'm there, I am happy to help you do that. But, like, the onus is on you to also just step forward when it's your time. You don't have to be rude, but you do have to be assertive to make sure that you're getting the warm-ups when you want, because it moves really quick. You're going to have a bunch of people say, like, okay, we're going up to 205 now, or whatever. And you say, no, just step in. They say, hey, guys, let me take one more 185 before we do that. It shouldn't be a problem, but also you want to be a little, like, proactive in helping load a plate on here or there, because everybody's in this together. It's very unlikely that there's just people there just to load and unload weights. So make sure of that, all right? Be friendly, be assertive. Don't let other people rush your timing or force you into taking jumps that you don't want to take, right? Like, a lot of times people get all, like, squirrely and, anxious and, like, high energy, and they get warming up when there's, I'm saying, they have so much time, before they actually lift that they're just, like, racing through, right? Like, I don't understand, this happens every year at OSG. I mean, there's no deadlift suits at nationals, but people put on their deadlift suits for, like, an hour before they get onto the floor to actually do the event. So, think about that stuff. Sleeves are a different story. You might actually want to put on, like, your sleeves, if you wear any gear like that, like, relatively early. So you're not just, like, sitting around too close to competition time trying to, sleeve up, especially if you wear, like, really, really tight ones, tacky shirt. Typo there, excuse me. But anyways, because of the rising bar, you want to understand your pace. Like, if you're a stronger presser and you're going later in the order, if you have a really big group, like some of these classes are 40 to 50 people, that means there's probably going to be, potentially 30, 40, 50, 60 full attempts on the competition floor before you go. So if you have a better press, you know that you should probably slow your roll a little bit, not have too long in between, attempts when it's time to go from the warm-up room to the competition floor, but just, like, pace this out to the best of your abilities. We should be close enough to, like, understand it, or have somebody run back and forth to tell you how much time you have or get an estimation. But, just treat it like you would in the gym if you were going for a top single. You want to have as close to your routine as possible. If you hit your last warm-up rep and then you wait about 5 minutes for your max attempt, let's try to do that. Or even 10 minutes, it's kind of still finding that range at competition, right? So let's consider for this axle clean and press and also the deadlift that you might not really have a whole bunch of warm-up equipment. What do you do in that scenario, right? We have to be ready for the worst case scenario, and that means in this circumstance, I think you should be bringing bands with you, like just stretch bands. I always carry, like, 2 of the pink minis with me every comp I go, just as backup. I rarely actually use them, but they're always there just in case. So pink mini bands, we got roller, massage gun. You should also know some mobility drills and things like push-ups, like body weight work. You should know some of these things that will help you warm up. So if we're talking about, like, the axle clean and press, right, what do you need? You need, like, your chest, shoulders, triceps to fire. So even doing, like, some push-ups and some banded shoulder presses is going to get you going, right? Do you like to stretch your T-spine? You can do some twists, some rotations, this and that to open you up. Should know some like lat stretches, like you can do a good one with the band or do it against the wall. It'll all help you out like a whole lot. But most importantly, make sure we're warming up with intent, guys. Making warm-ups with intent. We don't want to like do a million reps, let our like nerves and excitement of the moment like carry over to getting us to do a bunch of reps. Like we want all of our energy to go onto the competition floor. So warm-up room for axle clean and press is like really refining the right strategy. We want to maybe work up to about like 90%, 95% of our opener, so we're close in weight, but not so close that we're burning a bunch of gas. Because remember, your first opener should be kind of a guaranteed rep. Now, if you are somebody who unfortunately is stuck where the opening weight is like near your max, then you just need to plan that appropriately. But for like a lot of the women, well, my client, she's going to probably do about 145. If they open up at 95, she's going to be doing somewhere around 115. That's a guaranteed make for her. So whatever you're doing should be a guaranteed make for your first attempt if that option is available. Okay? So axle clean and press, kind of good stuff to remember on that. Moving on to axle deadlift, I also want you to remember this thing of be assertive if you have to. There's going to be a lot of people. Step in, step right up to the bar if you can. If there is a line, be nice and wait in line. Nobody likes that person that cuts in line to do a warm-up when we're all waiting. But, hell, if I'm there, I'll help you out with this. If there's people that are not going for a long, long, long time, right? Let's say sometimes, groups get grouped together. If you're a 132-pound woman and, you just happen to get grouped with, let's phrase it differently, 148s and 165s typically get grouped together. But the 165s go later in the order. If you're 148, you need to make sure that you're going maybe before that 165 on a bar or on a implement, because just by order, you are going ahead of them. Just facts, okay? So don't let those later groups kind of bully you into not getting your warm-ups on time. Be nice, but be assertive, okay? Now, on axle deadlifts, again, the goal is really to wake up your nervous system. We don't want to fatigue super hard, but the deadlift is so neural drive based that doing these reps correctly, A1, and then fast and powerful, A2, is really the goal. So just I have it written here. This is a general idea, but tell you what it's like for me. If I did 585 for my comp working weight at America's Strongest Man. So I did 135 for 5, 225 for 3, 315 for 2 to 3, 405 for 2 to 3, 505 for 1, 545 for 1. So worked up to, that comes out to about 95% of top weight for one single, but they were ripped real hard. Okay, so pulling real violently, because that's what's priming our nervous system, so we can do that over and over again and pull explosively. So that's really a good approach. Just remember, power, power, power. That also means, if we don't have access to be able to do a whole bunch of warm-up reps, then the important thing is to wake up that explosivity and maybe do some plyo drills, like some broad jumps, just jumps, tucks up in the air, maybe some track sprinter warm-ups, things that get that explosive twitch going for you. Now, what's cool about this is axle deadlifts should warm us up pretty well for the next move, which is the arm over arm pull into backward sled drag, which is followed by another medley. So it's all movement-based stuff. So you should be pretty neurally activated for events 2, 3, 4. All right. But I still think, when we're talking about warming up, we want to maintain this explosiveness, kind of have a couple of these things like fast feet or high knees, or some bounding drills like pogo hops to get your calves warmed up and get your nervous system primed and ready to go. Even though we're pushing pretty hard, you have to remember our overall workload is pretty low, right? It's just one really hard set of deadlifts, one really hard round of our medley number one really hard round of our medley number 2. So, do some quick primers, get in, get out, keep going. So, not trying to ramble all over the place, but again, if you want a copy of this, you can get it in clubstrongman.com. I'm also going to have an Instagram post about this coming up pretty soon. So, speed warm-ups, crisp reps, practice your foot position, technique, hand spacing, hip height. If there are no markings on the axle, you need to have a plan of how you are going to center yourself and get in the right position on the bar, because if you are off center on your first rep or first 1, 2, 3 reps, whatever, that's going to really drain a lot of energy. So it's worth taking an extra second to make sure that you're strapped in correctly so that you can pull more efficiently. Do not let the anxiety and excitement of the moment overwhelm you so much that you bottle your fatigue, right? This is, again, big theme for this whole thing is we got to manage our energy. So, if you want to go on my Instagram, I've got some breathing techniques, right, that you can use to slow your breathing down a little bit, which will slow your heart rate down, which will, get you to stay calm and focused if you're just so overwhelmed that you can't even think straight. Try some of those things. Use headphones and listen to music that gets you in the correct zone for these events, if that's what works for you. Personally, I don't listen to music during my competitions anymore because I like being really present. Music takes me out of it in the wrong way, but this is not true for everybody. So find what works for you to mentally and emotionally be in the right place. Okay. Now, moving on, again, if anybody's got questions, fire away. But just gonna keep rolling here. Arm over arm pull into backwards sled drags. Okay. Now this one is important, I think, to warm up the upper backs and lats. Now a arm over arm pull is pretty bicep heavy. You've probably felt this in your training. So if you've got some bands, I'd probably do a couple hammer curls out in front, and then maybe some plate rows or bent over banded rows. Or if you have some ropes available, obviously you want to warm up that motion. But we want just a rowing motion warmed up, and if we can, to do it pretty quick and violently. So if there's light sandbags available, one thing that's really good is to grab some sandbags, just power, row them into your chest and let go at the top. So just violent pull and release. That's going to get you in the right, synchro type pace and rhythm that you need to pull this sled really, really quick. Now in this one, if there is the specific comp kit available, guys, practice on it. And this is something you should do if you can, first thing in the morning on Friday, or first thing in the morning Saturday, or at check-ins and weigh-ins on Friday. Get your hands on this one because everybody's got the same question mark about is it going to be fast? Is that rubber mat going to add a lot of friction? My guess is no, but I don't really know for sure. So see what the setup is like. How are the straps going to be laid out? Is it going to be easy to just grab those straps and go? Is the sled going to drag all weird? We don't really know. So try as best as you can to mock this setup. I don't think that you're really going to be able to that well, but just think again, what do you need to warm up? Rowing motion, legs. This is one we're just doing a ton of body weight squats, and by a ton I mean 20, is going to do you pretty well because it's not really anything super, super, super intense. Now, I just want you to be mindful as well of the competition surface. We don't really know for sure, again, what this friction looks like, but scout it out. You're going to have time up to now to know what the floor is like, how your feet grip, which shoes are the best one. So make the right choice, okay? If you can, watch how other athletes are doing this before you go. Are they making any mistakes? There's going to be little, I'm telling you, little intricacies in the way that people grab the handles, how they transition, how the sled moves that you're going to be able to watch and see maybe I need to make sure of that, or I need to make sure I don't do that, right? I think you got to try to pay attention to the people before you a little bit on that one. Okay. We will see. That one's going to be kind of interesting. Yes, the document will be available. It is. It's actually right now. I just made a post, Robin. Like if you go to clubstrongman.com, there's a PDF in there, but I'll tag you in it so you get it. So, just had a quick question on this, unrelated. Spreading the frequency of 4-day squat, bench, deadlift, OHP into a 6-day program. Any downsides? Tough to answer directly, but probably not if you run it like long-term minded over like 8 to 12 weeks. Anyways, all right, back on topic. So, farmer's carry into sandstone. The most important part of this, I think physically and neurally, you're going to be pretty warmed up, right? But the thing we really want to focus on is like the specificity of the farmer's handles themselves. Okay, so what I mean by that is like how the knurling feels in your hands. They're not knurled. They are smooth handles. Like how the physics of the actual farmer's handles move with you. So what you really want to focus on is how weight feels in your hands and how you start with it, right? So we all want to move pretty quick with this. So whether you're starting with like an even stance or a staggered stance, you want to make sure that the way you pick the weights up and start moving is correct, because as you should know, if you get the pick right and you're smooth at that 10 to 15 foot mark, you're going to be smooth the whole way through. So you just want to like practice picking up, moving, getting your grip warmed up. I would say probably try to get to about like 90% weight. Some people do really well with one pick at comp weight and then just like dropping down because that gets their grip warmed up, but it's up to you. Kind of similar with the sandstone. I think there's going to be a lot of people that try to transition and pick up this sandstone really, really quick and then like bottle it because they get in the wrong position. So when we're like doing the farmer's carry into the sandstone, the most important thing is to, practice the pickups and the first few steps, because if you get that part right, everything else is going to move really, really nicely. Okay. If you have the ability to practice the transition from the handles to the sandstone, I think you should do it, but you might not. So, no worries. Just focus on, again, quality, short pickups, positioning. I think that's all you really need there, right? Like, if we're doing this competition, one thing I would do for sure is like chalk the crap out of my forearms, my hands, my shirt, all of that, because I just think that really, really helps with sandstones. And this is something I would probably do some liquid chalk as well, because I just tend to find that works like a little better at big competitions for me for whatever reason. And you also don't know for sure like how much chalk is going to be available. So get some liquid chalk in your gear bag. Okay, sandstone load. Focus on speed and height, all right? Explosive, load explosively. Every rep, no matter how strong you are, how much energy you have, you need to focus on loading it as high as possible. This means big triple extension, roll up, 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 up. It needs to go high up into your chin, and then you lean forward to dump it over the bar. Always, forever and ever, amen, period, okay? Now, when you're warming up, I think you can really fire this ability by doing it with lighter bags. You might not really need to do your comp weight bag like a full rep or two in order to, be successful. And you've already, in theory, done one pickup with this sandstone at your comp weight, and then you're just going to go load it. But I think it's unlikely that we have a bunch of yokes. I shouldn't say that. I don't really know. There might not be yokes available in the warm-up area to load over, but you should not plan that there will be. If there is one, it's a bonus. But I still think even if there was, you should try to set the bar an inch or two higher than where it's supposed to be, just so you have to practice loading a little higher and dumping over, right? This is something that, again, like some of these plyo drills, again, would work really, really well on. So a few jumps, pogos, quick hops, If there's lighter bags, hopefully some real light ones around, you can just like, boom, like do this triple extension motion, load up and let it, pop up over your head to like really get that groove going. But you just focus on trying to get these bags as high as you possibly can while you're warming up for this event. So pogos, quick hops, fast explosive movements, chalk up. If you're using tape or gloves, now's the time to put that on. And just follow your routine, guys. This shouldn't be, a lot of this I hope is review, but just with some considerations now about the fact that you're warming up with 400 other people at once, right? So just like lots to think about with that, okay? Overall game day strategy. So just kind of like macro overview, trust your training. Do not panic if warm-ups feel off. That doesn't mean anything. Warm-ups are not your performance. It's been all over. You compete enough times, you'll see this for yourself. Sometimes my warm-ups have felt amazing, and then I did horribly. Sometimes my warm-ups has felt like ass, and then I did great. That's just how it goes. Don't worry about it. You're going to do the best you can. Warm-ups are warm-ups. It's all good. Manage your adrenaline and nerves. Channel that energy properly. Again, having some breathing exercises is like one of my personal go-tos for this, but maybe for you it's mantras or some sort of gentle reminder, like something you say in your head. Maybe, I knew somebody that literally carried a card with them that they would pull out of their pocket and read some affirmations whenever they needed to like get in the right state of mind. Whatever you got to do, just put yourself in the right energetic state. Plan ahead. If you were to get overwhelmed, what would you do to center yourself? Maybe it's just getting outside. Maybe it's just like walking away for a few minutes. Can't do that if you're up next, but you can do a couple slow breaths, right? So kind of hand in hand with managing your adrenaline nerves is just being smart with caffeine and stimulants. Okay, caffeine is a performance enhancer. Does help, but don't overdo it because that just increases anxiety and raises your heart rate. It can overtax your nervous system. When we want to be strong all day long, we don't want to fry too early. Hand in hand with that is hydration and carbs. Very easy stuff. You want to make sure that you're eating and fueled up. You might not be hungry, but too bad. You need to fuel up. Okay, but not so full that your belly is full. You're walking around like all bloated. You should have a good breakfast 3 hours away from when you start event one, at least. Right? I personally like steak, eggs, and some like smoked salmon for that. I have like a pretty high protein, high fat diet that day, but like 3 hours away from when I start warming up and competing. So it's mostly digested and out of my system by that. Okay. Hydration, drink your water, guys. Get some electrolytes. Make sure you don't stay up late the night before trying to lock in. I don't care if you're visiting town and you're staying with friends, family, your coach, your workout partners. I don't care. Talk with them tomorrow. You got to go to bed. Lastly, just always control what you can control. You can control your effort. You can control your pace. You can control your mindset and your execution. It is up to you to do the things that you know how to do. Okay? Very simple. Very simple. But not easy. That is Strongman, in a nutshell. A lot of this is simple, but it's not easy. You gotta execute to the best of your abilities on game days. So very cool, guys. That is my presentation for tonight. If you want some more help on this, I'll be there. I'll see you guys in Nationals. I'll be there hanging out, helping out. Might be checking you in on Friday. We will see. But whatever. Really looking forward to it. I think it'll be fun. Kind of no matter how it goes, there's going to be a lot of great people out there. Looking forward to it. So don't forget, join club at strongman.com, #1 online strongman community. Lots of free resources in there to help you get strong. You can always message me on Instagram anytime. But that's a wrap for tonight, guys. I appreciate y'all that tuned in live and those of you that are tuning in for the replay, stay strong. Have fun, train hard, eat smart, finish the water cut, do whatever you got to do, but show up, have fun, believe in yourself. Have fun. Most important thing, rule 1, have fun. All right, guys. See you later.